What's up, e-bikers? Well, if a scooter and an e-bike had a baby, this would be born. This is the Hiboy C1, and for some reason it's next on the channel. Okay, this is the Hiboy C1, $4.99 on the hiboy.com website. This is what happens when scooter companies want to get into the e-bike business. They make stuff like this. It's quirky. It's not for me because I'm an adult, 6-foot adult. I'm not going to ride this thing, but I could see teens using this thing. There's my daughter. I had her try it out. She's like 5'3", and she found it quirky and funny. But you got 14-inch tires on this thing. It has pretty good brakes with those disc calipers there. We've got 3 different modes in terms of the speeds. I'll show you how to get to that later. It's got a smart app as well, front suspension. Max load is 230 pounds, and the e-bike weighs 50 pounds. And that front stem on the Hiboy C1 folds down. So you can shove this into a trunk, back seat very easily, I think. It's not gonna tax any person who buys this thing. It's pretty easy to maneuver around and pick up and things like that. Again, 3 speed modes. Here's where the battery is. There's the charge port in that little top there. Just pull it out. And it also has a brake light back there. I'll show you that in a second. But here's the front light. That front end is very much like a scooter. And here's that rear braking light. I'm pressing the brake right now as I'm filming this. And you can see it just blink and flash there. So it's pretty nice. It's all embedded essentially. The display itself is embedded into the stem. And again, if you're looking right now, it looks like a scooter, right? You got 3 modes. You got here's the app. So you have to connect it with the app. If you want to change modes in terms of eco, drive, or sport, you have to do that within the app. That's the only way to change it. That button on the bottom right there on the display is just for the power only. So you're going to have to use the app if you want to change speeds and things like that, and a few other things. It shows you where you're located as well if you allow the location on the app. Here's a look at where the the battery is, and there's a key for it underneath the e-bike. So just move the latch and you'll stick in the key and you'll unlock it, and then you can pull the battery out from where it is. So I'm doing it in a second, but this is definitely it's portable and comfortable for the small person or the teenager. It's all one piece body, right? It's got some climbing ability, but it's not going to be a good hill climber. It's got fenders on it as well. And here's a look at the battery. So you just pull the handle out once you unlock it, of course. It is kind of tough getting it out, and the plug is on the top there, and you can see where that lock hole is for the lock itself. Again, a 36 volt, 7.8 amp hour battery, not very big, and you probably get maybe 20 miles out of this thing, roughly speaking. So it's kind of like those Jetsons. You might see at Costco, whatever, but these are bikes I typically don't have on the channel. Here's the suspension there, as you see me rolling through the driveway. I did take it up a hill here, and I did throttle only to see if it could take on this moderate hill, and it almost made it. It got to the 10 feet before the stop sign, and it was like 3 miles an hour. Started dying, so I started pedaling just to get it up over the hump, and came back down the hill and tested the brakes out here. But it's not a hill climber for sure, and 350 watts typically aren't overall, so keep that in mind. It's not a very stable bike, at least for me anyway. I'm a 6-foot adult, and I felt kind of clumsy on this thing. I did some swerving with it here, and I just didn't feel very confident riding this thing, probably because I'm too big. And it's a very short bike too, so you're not going to get a whole lot of stability when you're riding this thing. But anyway, that's the Hiboy C1. Thanks for watching.